Good morning and welcome to Mining Stock Daily with me, Paul Harris. Today we're talking about gold development projects in Central America, and I'm joined by Jack Lundin, President and CEO of Bluestone Resources, that's just put out a feasibility study on its Cerro Blanco gold project in Guatemala. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Um, Given that it's 6:30 in the morning in Vancouver, you're looking very well and very awake.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a busy few weeks, so no, feeling good and really excited about these feasibility study results that we just announced today.
Excellent. Well, it's a very solid feasibility. A couple of quick highlights there. You're looking at average annual production of 197,000 ounces a year over a 14-year mine life, at an average all-in sustaining cost of $629 US per ounce, an initial capital expenditure of $572 million, net present value after tax at a 5% discount rate of more than $1 billion US, and 30% IRR. Can't be too disappointed with those.
No, super excited about these results. I mean, it's a very robust project, and that's demonstrated in these feasibility study results. And I think if you look a little bit in smaller periods of time, the first 4 years of production, we're going to have over 300,000 ounces of gold produced per year, 1 million ounces of silver. And then in those first 10 years, it's over 240,000 ounces of gold. We have on average over 14 years, it's a bit lower because in those four final years, we're not actually mining, we're just feeding low grade ore through the mill. But yeah, so it's a quick payback because of our robust production profile. And, this really is what puts the wind in our sails to keep advancing this project in the manner that we have been.
And you must be doing an awful lot of work over the past year or so, because it was about a year ago that the company announced that it's recasting the project from an underground potential development to an open pit development. You put a PEA out February last year, and I guess the past year you've been doing quite a lot of optimization work on that. And you announced today that you've improved recoveries, you can recover more gold and things like that. What has been the real focus of that optimization? What have been the real achievements there?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, just, over a year ago, we started to really think about this project and what the deposit could really generate. And, it was always contemplated Cerro Blanco as an underground development scenario. However, our interpretation of the geology and the success that we had in our infill drilling campaigns really showed that this deposit was much more amenable to surface mining methods. And therefore, we decided to make that change after a lot of decisions that had to be made, but we met with the government in Guatemala, and we decided that this was a project worth doing on a larger scale. And you can really see that with these economics when you compare them back to the 2019 feasibility study on the underground. I mean, they are hard to compare because they're much more robust with an open pit. So our focus since releasing the PEA last year has really been to hone in on the engineering, de-risk the asset from technical standpoint, and also really look at where we can optimize this project. So things that we wanted to do is see if we could minimize our footprint by, bringing a smaller processing facility in. And we were able to justify that through mine optimization work. And therefore, one of the big savings that we've got here is reducing the size of the processing facility from 5 million tons per annum to 4 million tons per annum, while maintaining or actually improving that production profile by increasing our mining rate. So a lot of things like this, getting the team on board and de-risking the project from a technical standpoint has been our major focus. And then, of course, the more time you spend on the project, the more experience you get in the region. And we've been building out our team as well. So now we've got a fully established team ready to continue to keep advancing this project.
Thank you, Jack. Is there still exploration upside beyond what you've put down in your sort of feasibility study mine plan?
Yeah, so what's really exciting about this region is that there is a 2 kilometer northern mineralization trend from Cerro Blanco. So if you go a little bit further to the north, there are holes that were drilled back in pre 2006 when Glamis controlled the project or the property. So there is a lot of exciting exploration targets for us to go after. But first, we want to get this project off the ground. We want to advance it as much as we can. But we definitely have some attractive targets that really, I think the opportunity is in later years to bring in satellite pits if we can have shallow, high-grade intercepts. And there's no reason why we don't believe that we can't do that. So that's why we think exploration upside is very strong here in the region.
Thank you, Jack. Just to sort of recap, Cerro Blanco hosts a proven and probable reserve of 2.8 million ounces of gold and 12.6 million ounces of silver contained in about 53.9 million tons of material. Now, you're in Central America. Water is a critical issue for mines everywhere, but particularly in sort of Central American countries, Latin America. The feasibility talks about some of the adjustments, if you like, that you've made, sort of dry stack tailings, filtered tailings, that kind of thing. But you also talked about or mentioned how you've worked on and improved the hydrology model. How is that sort of changing things? How you're going to operate the mine and run the mine?
Absolutely. So water management is one of the most critical environmental management plans that we have at this project. And so bringing on experts and really trying to study that hydrogeological model and making sure that we've got a sound dewatering plan, also a sound water treatment plan, recycling all of the water that we can use to kind of keep it in the system. And then any water that we do discharge, we will make sure that it makes its way through the water treatment facility that will be built and expanded on as the life of the mine progresses. So, we've been doing a lot of test work, a lot of data analytics on our water management strategy. And now we believe that we've got a very robust model, and it will continue to adapt as we start to mine and as we start to understand how the water flows. So we've got peripheral wells to dewater the mine as we're bringing the pit deeper. And then we've got a water treatment facility that will increase in size as we go deeper as well. And that's really a big focus for us, and we've got a great team working on that day in and day out.
Okay, to what extent have you been able to draw on your development experience at the Fruta del Norte mine in Ecuador, which you helped to build? Because water is, again, a critical aspect there, though perhaps for having too much water than perhaps not enough, which may be the case in Guatemala.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different set of circumstances, absolutely, between Cerro Blanco in southern Guatemala and Fruta del Norte in southern Ecuador. But one thing that we've been able to capitalize on is keeping the core team together that built Fruta del Norte and bringing them over to Cerro Blanco. So, every project requires a lot of studying and a lot of problem solving. And the fact that we've got a very strong integrated team that have worked together and been successful together before is really a differentiator for us. So, we've got great support from G Mining Services, and we've got a really good project team that came over from Fruta, and they're fully dedicated, strong technical capabilities. And for water management, different kind of issues when we're in southern Ecuador. We're in the rainforest there. We're dealing with a lot of water inflows, heavy rain throughout the season. And in Guatemala, you do have a rainy season, but you also have a dry season. So and the dry season can be quite arid. So it's really important to make sure that everything that we're managing, it's for for years in advance, not just for from one season to the next. And so I think what works best for us is keeping the strong team together and continuing to grow that team out.
Thank you, Jack. Well, one thing that pleasantly surprised me with the capex of the feasibility study was only sort of a modest increment over the PEA last year, despite the fact that we're very much now in an inflationary environment. And the press release this morning mentioned some of the areas where you have experienced sort of cost inflation. How are you looking to sort of manage that? Because obviously inflation is going to continue to evolve. So to what extent are where those figures go up or come down, and how can you manage that?
I mean, everybody's dealing with those issues, right? So it's important for us to focus on the big ticket items, costs that we can control. And that's why I mentioned we were able to justify reducing the size of that processing facility. We've also changed a bit of our scope as well when it comes to construction indirects and expat loadings. I mean, there is a big talent pool in Guatemala, which we hope to be able to, attract to our project. So hiring local and training local workforce, but also engineers. There's engineering firms in country that we're working with right now for helping us with key offsite infrastructure projects. So bringing them in so that they can help with our engineering work as well, because we've advanced this project so much. When you look at the capital costs, contingency has been able to come down because of our certainty on vendor quotes and level of engineering. So you can justify bringing that contingency cost down. Things where we have seen offsets or cost increases, of course, with freight, logistics, material cost, energy cost. But we really try and offset those by having a really sound capital disciplined general service department fit for purpose, ensuring that we don't need, differentiating the nice to haves and the need to haves, and really making sure, especially from a support services standpoint, we're making it very lean. So, while costs have gone up in other areas, we were able to successfully find areas to reduce costs, and therefore the offset is only, I think, from the PEA we were 550 million US, and now we're at 572. So, net only about a $22 million increase, but our production profile looks better and offsets that increase in capex.
Okay, thank you, Jack. So going forward, you talked about you're going to this year you're going to start some of the early infrastructure works related to sort of power line and the bridge, getting in a position to sort of do early works on the project with a view to really getting into project development next year after financing. So what's the plan in terms of financing the development?
So we're putting that financing package or that strategy in place. I mean, we've been talking through that a lot lately, and really this feasibility study forms the basis to go out and get project financing. Because there's a high amount of silver that will be produced from this project, I think we've been looking at the opportunities of a silver stream. We are engaging with the same syndicate of banks that were helping us when we were looking for project financing on the underground solution. So we're going to reinitiate those talks. And then, of course, whatever overhang there will be on the equity side, I think we'll look and test the markets when we need to. But one thing that's really great for us, we still have about 15 million US in the bank today. We've got the support of my family, and if we need to give a line of credit to the company to bridge any funding gaps, we're prepared to do so. So I think when you look at the financing and the rapid payback of this project and where gold is today, I think it's the new floor could be $1,800. It's at $1,900 an ounce today. So we've got a lot of positive momentum, and that will help us for project financing.
Thank you, Jack. One sort of final question. You mentioned the family support that the company has. Your father, Lucas, has just announced his retirement. I find it hard to believe he's just going to sort of retire, given that he's such an energetic man and so passionate about mining. So I guess he's going to perhaps be still an invaluable, touching soundboard for you as you sort of take Bluestone through this development process. And potentially, he's very hands-on, isn't he? So I imagine you're going to get a lot of advice from him, whether you ask for it or not.
Yeah, no, that's right. And now that he's stepping down, maybe I can move him down to Guatemala to do a few rotations down there with me. But I think for him to be stepping down, it is the right time. I'm fortunate to be in the family business, where at the dinner table, this talk is just natural, and he'll always be providing guidance to me and my brothers, and I'll be looking for that. And we've been working together now for my entire career, so I don't think much is going to change on that standpoint. So for Bluestone and for Cerro Blanco, the task and the mandate is to keep advancing and keep trying to make this dream a reality. And I think we're one step closer with this feasibility study announcement.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. I look forward to finding out more as the project continues to progress. Bluestone Resources trades on the TSXV under BSR and on the OTCQB under BBSRF. Jack Lundin, President and CEO, thank you very much for joining us today.
Many thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.